When this podcast goes out, Roman will officially have been the longest reigning Universal Champion of all time, beating Lesnar's reign of 504 days.
Do you remember when Kevin Owens won it after Balor had only held it for a day, and when Kevin Owens had held it for a week, he was like, "I'm the longest reigning Universal Champion of all time."
I think he held it for 2 days and then said he was the longest reigning champion of all time. So, day one, right? Lots of rumours coming out from very reliable sources like Fightful and Meltzer and things like that. And people saying that Rollins was going to win the title.
Yeah.
Big E was going to retain the title, and then Lesnar was going to beat Reigns. I wouldn't have been surprised if Lesnar beat Reigns right before the whole longest reign thing.
Yeah.
Lesnar beat him, and then Reigns took it back at WrestleMania. That's what I thought was going to happen. But obviously, they didn't get a chance to do the match, so they just put Lesnar in. Lesnar's leaving here with the belt, damn it. So they put him in the other one. It's a shame for Big E, and I think there's time there for Big E versus Lesnar. So my prediction, going off now, mid-January 2022, this could be so wrong, but this is just what I think is going to happen. It's a 2-night WrestleMania. I think we're getting Lesnar versus Reigns, and I think it's going to unify the titles, which I'm not a fan of. I like the two titles. I know people prefer one title. It means more. I grew up with Raw and SmackDown. I like the fact there was one world champion on one show and the other world champion. It's meant to be two separate shows, two brands. They should each have their own titles. That's my opinion. So I think I'm going to call it now on night one of WrestleMania. It's Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. It's Brock Lesnar versus Big E on night one for both titles. And then both Lesnar and Reigns win their matches. And on night two is Reigns Lesnar to unify the titles.
That
was my prediction. I mean, and then the threats there, like it could be Drew versus Big E to unify the titles, or it could be Drew versus Lesnar again to unify the titles, or it could be Big E versus Roman, and like it's almost like that kind of tournament style, but it's not really a tournament. And whoever's the champion is going into night two unify the belts. That would be my prediction. Not what I would want to happen, but I think that's likely because I don't know why Lesnar would have mentioned it in that promo. He said on SmackDown last week or 2 weeks ago, he was like, give the people what they want. There should be one champion and stuff. And I don't know about that.
I'll do you one better. I don't think my prediction is this. I think that Bobby Lashley is going to beat Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble due to Roman's interference. I think Roman is going to cost Brock the title. That gets the WWE Championship back on Raw, and then they can, whether Bobby's a transitional champion or whatever, they can then fall back on whatever their Raw plans were for the WWE Championship. Because was it not Seth and Kevin Owens that they were thinking about for WrestleMania? Was that the rumor? I can't remember.
I didn't hear that for WrestleMania, but storyline-wise, that would make sense because they're kind of being pals, but I don't think that would be the match at WrestleMania.
No, I don't think so either. But I know they've already done it, but I would quite happily have Lashley and Big E, and I would quite happily have Big E get the belt back off Lashley.
Agreed. I'm curious though if COVID didn't strike Roman, if Rollins would have won that Fatal 4-Way, where were they going for WrestleMania? Like, are they going to have someone like AJ Styles or something win the Royal Rumble and then have Rollins and AJ at WrestleMania? It just doesn't make sense. Like, it makes perfect sense to us as fans, but the way that WWE think, they need to have this mega match. Has to be Lesnar, has to be so-and-so, So I'm also curious to see what Edge is going to do at WrestleMania. And I did think AJ Styles for Edge as well, but it's a really interesting time. Usually we could work it out, or not even work it out, but just we have a few ideas. But right now, I don't have a clue who's going to win the Royal Rumble.
Do you know what I would love to see one more time just for fun? Edge and Cena. I'd love it.
Who cares? Why not? Let's do it. You know what I mean? On what probably going to happen in one of the Saudi shows, but like Triple H and Orton had that match one year for no reason whatsoever.
And Triple H and Cena. Triple H and Cena wrestled too.
Did they? So they did, yeah.
The very first Saudi show, Triple H wrestled Cena.